Tucker Carlson leaves Fox News. They say it's an agreed upon departure, although our friends to the left come out to try to tell us that he got his ass canned. So we'll be talking a bit about what's happening there, trying to parse out some of the reality from some of the fake news, and go over what happens next for Tucker. In other news, on the same day, Don Lemon is also let go from CNN. CNN says they parted ways mutually. Don Lemon says he got canned. So we'll talk about that, what's happening with that, and where we go from there. Ray Epps appears on 60 Minutes in an interview that if any competent attorney were to lead the witness as much as the host in CBS led Ray Epps, well, that attorney would be disbarred, but we'll talk about that and some of the things that Ray Epps said while he was on the air. And Biden's challengers rage over the lack of 2024 Democrat debates. We'll go over some of the position on that, my position on that, and what the general consensus is. It is going to be all of this and more. I outlasted Tucker. I am J. Edgar, and this is Contemporary. Gee, I wonder what we're going to talk about today. It's almost like there was a Monday Night Massacre on the news platforms, and even Susan Rice is out too, but that didn't get near as much play as everything else we've got to talk about here today on Contemporary. I mean, just like the top half of the show is just articles about either Tucker or Don Lemon or, yes, Susan Rice too. And by the way, I had a long diatribe ready to talk about as far as Ray Epps went, and then just like I got to work and I had heard some conversations about that, and then Quest Fanning texted me, and sure enough, Tucker Carlson is gone. So we'll be talking a bit about what's happening there, what this means for the news media, my personal feelings about this. As most of you who are watching Contemporary know, I was never a Tucker Carlson fan, and I stand by what I say. I will temper my message based on what's reality and not my personal feelings towards Tucker, but I will be talking about my personal feelings towards Tucker as well as Don Lemon too. So we'll be going over that. We'll be talking about Ray Epps today. We don't have a lot of stuff beyond the Tucker stuff, I'm not going to lie. This was on deck to be a really, really short show before the Monday Morning Massacre, but we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about plenty more. Plus, we will be getting to your live chat at the end of the show today at 7:45 Central Time, especially if it gets busy today, which, given the fact that this is a Tucker broadcast, I believe that it's going to get busy today. We will switch over into all live chat. I will be monitoring the Rumble live chat, the Odyssey live chat. We'll be checking out both of those. I will be saying a thank you to everybody who popped up on the Instagram side, and we'll also be reading the main chat that is YouTube, Twitch, DLive, and Facebook, all funneled back into that. So we've got a lot to go over here today, and a little bit of time to do it over here on Contemporary. So let's get into it. Before we do, make sure you guys go check out great programming such as The Daily Ignoramus, The Breakdown with Birkenhoff, The R-Rated Conservative, The Porch Boys. Go check out Tweets by Brit if you're into culture war stuff on a short form basis, Mr. Behavior if you prefer video games, The No Gimmicks Podcast if you prefer an audio only experience, and KTZed if your forte is more into the line of crime, punishment, and true crime. So go check out all that great programming as we aim to bring you a better news and culture experience from the common man for the common man. That is right. For too long, we have got all of our news, culture, music, movies, video games, etc. from people who wear suits that cost more than our houses, no more. Go check out all that great programming. It's going to be a great time. And let's get down into the news of the day. We're going to fly through this because I really want to get to this Tucker stuff. And I know that you guys want to too. So let's just fly through the finance. If you want to take some time while we're doing the finance and go get some more friends in here to up the conversation and up the ante, let's go. Let's do this. And let's look at the Dow. Let's get the regular live chat up here so I can see. I got the Rumble chat up here, but I don't have the regular up. All right. The Mogwai says he's going to watch You or Tucker. Oh, wait. Oh, I have Don Lemon. Oh, shit. I like that. Quest is just like Don Lemon. Rachel Maddow is still on the airwaves. Yeah, well, that's not going to go anywhere. Quest Banning says, Quest Banning also shared on Twitter for the D-Live. Thank you for that. Tucker is, at least what we saw on TV, is right about 3/4 of the time and totally nuts on the other quarter. Is Rice a possible VP for Biden? No, it's Kamala, remember? Banning. Don can suck a lemon just like his husband does. I tip my hat to you. Alright, let's get into the Dow. Looking at this, the Dow took kind of a roller coaster today. It jumped up, it sank back down. It was able to claw its way back up for a win on the day, 66.44 points to 33,875.40. That is up 0.2% on the day, so not a lot here. Fox News surprisingly weighing on the markets, and we'll be talking about that in its own segment while we're talking about Tucker, so we'll go over some of that. Looking at your Bitcoin for the day, your Bitcoin is sitting at 27,370.70. That is down again 108.90, $108 and 90 US cents, or 0.39% on the day, after also taking a bit of a roller coaster day throughout the day, bringing us back out to the 5 days so we can see what happened over the weekend. We are still seeing lower than expected prices on your Bitcoin, which means, as I always say, it's on sale if that's something you're interested in. You don't want to pay $63,000 for a Bitcoin when you can pay $27,000. So watch the market, see where it goes. I'm not going to give you official financial advice on what to do with Bitcoin. I know some of our fans and friends don't like Bitcoin for reasons of obviousness, but we look at this because it's one of the best indicators of the shortest short term in the market, because you got Coinbase in a PayPal account and you got Bitcoin, you got cash within 20 minutes. So that's what we see coming off of that. And on the gas prices around Madison, we are getting some reprieve still. Not a whole lot. We're still seeing mostly the same prices we saw on Friday. $3.50 on the west side of Madison, $3.38 to $3.40 on the east side, with the Isthmus sitting at $3.30. Isn't there another station that reported on the Isthmus usually? It's not there today. So still some pretty steady, but better than it was just a couple weeks ago. Let's see what CNBC has to say. Stock futures are flat on Monday night as Wall Street looks to tech earnings from Ha-Kyung Kim. Stock futures were flat on Monday as traders await corporate earnings announcements from several big tech companies and consumer discretionary names, as well as new economic data. Dow Industrial Average futures slipped 6 points, or 0.02%. S&P 500 and NASDAQ inched down 0.05 and 0.02 respectively. In other notable after-hours action, shares of First Republic slid about 20%, deposits tumbled 40% to $104.5 billion in the first quarter, but have stabilized since, the bank reported late Monday. First Republic will also be trimming expenses, including slashing headcount by 20% to 25% in the second quarter, but that's not in our layoffs report. I've got a better one for the layoffs report today. During Monday's regular session, the tech-heavy NASDAQ declined 0.29. Meanwhile, the Dow rose by 66.44 points, or 0.2%, while the S&P ticked up by 0.09, so just barely. U.S. Bank Wealth Management Senior Investment Director Bill Northey anticipates companies reporting decreased growth momentum as 2023 progresses. We're looking for signs of deterioration, or alternatively health revenues, margins, and ultimately earnings. And importantly, earnings guidance as well as progress through the balance of the year. The expectation is for slower levels of growth as the year progresses. And these items, as well as the broader macro factors, will influence largely how portfolios are positioned, Northeast said. We enter 2023 with a modestly defensive portfolio orientation, he continued, noting that he has not made any material changes to his positioning. So as earnings come underway, we're starting to see some wild whipsaws, and the usual suspects are either weighing or going. Banks go first, so we'll see what happens with that. Let's look at the layoffs report, and then we are on to talk to Tucker. Or about Tucker, I should say. From CNN. Bed Bath & Beyond is closing hundreds of stores, but they won't be empty for long. That's right, they're going to be Spirit Halloween very soon. From Nathaniel Mayerson. Bed Bath & Beyond is stripping down its big blue signs, clearing out the aisles of linens, and closing hundreds of stores. The company filed for bankruptcy and said it will begin closing its 360 Bed Bath & Beyond stores and 120 Bye Bye Baby locations. Bed Bath & Beyond has already closed 400 stores over the past year. Already, chains including TJ Maxx, HomeGoods, and Ross have scooped up some of the vacant stores. Burlington, Five Below, Nordstrom Rack, and Budget Gym. Planet Fitness may also fill up the spaces, say retail landlords and real estate analysts. There is a Planet Fitness in a suburb of La Crosse on Alaska that is clearly inside of an old department store. I don't know which one it was, but that's clearly where it is. Bed Bath & Beyond's real estate is a precious, scarce resource for retailers, gyms, and anyone else who needs ample space. There's been little new retail development since the '08 financial crisis and the rise of online shopping, and vacancy rates are at historic lows. E-commerce scared off a lot of people from building retail, said Brandon Eisner, the head of retail research at CBRE, a commercial real estate firm. A lot of great real estate is going to come available in the market where there's been no vacancies. It will not take long for retailers to occupy those spaces. Particularly in a tight commercial real estate market, bad news for one brand means opportunity for another. So, everybody who has worked for Bed Bath & Beyond, your jobs are no more. You'll probably get a few extra hours off of what's remaining from both the real estate sales and whatever assets are left to go help them clear out the stores, but it is no more. Bed Bath & Beyond thanks you for your service, and I'm sure there's unemployment sitting there waiting for you as we finish up and get out through everything else. But yeah, another set of layoffs. But don't worry, all the economy is doing fantastic. Let's talk Tucker. And we've got a lot to go over here for that, and we're going to start with the post-millennial. We'll get the announcement news today. We've got a couple other, but I've got them just on the stack to talk about how they're announcing this and what they're trying to say. From the post-millennial, breaking: Tucker Carlson leaves Fox News as they agree to part ways. From Roberto Wakerell Cruz. Fox News Media and Tucker Carlson have agreed to part ways, according to a statement released on Monday. The statement reads, Mr. Carlson's last program was April 21st. Fox News Tonight will air live at 8 p.m. Eastern Time starting this evening as an interim show helmed by rotating Fox News personalities until a new host is named. Wouldn't that require Fox News hosts to have a personality in order for them to be called personalities? Fox News Media operates the Fox News Channel, Fox Business Network, Fox News Digital, Fox News Audio, Fox News Books, and direct-to-consumer streaming services Fox Nation, and Fox News International, and the free ad-supported television service Fox Weather. Currently the #1 network in all of cable, Fox News Channel has been the most watched television news program for more than 21 consecutive years. While Fox Business Network ranks among the top business channels on cable. Owned by Fox Corporation, Fox News Media reaches nearly 200 million people each month. Not for long. Carlson's show was frequently the top-rated show on cable news, often surpassing 4.5 million viewers per episode. The show premiered in November 2016 and took over the coveted 8 p.m. time slot in 2017. The decision to part ways with Carlson comes less than a week after the broadcaster and Dominion Voting Systems reached a $787 million lawsuit. Carlson's show was not a main focus of Dominion's lawsuit as much as the Krasensteins and the Kosciarellas and the Dash Dabrowskis would like you to believe that it was. It was not a main focus of the lawsuit. So, just a sample of what happens on Fox News with Tucker Carlson. We've got a Rumble clip here.
Most politicians haven't bothered to check the research before promoting widespread marijuana use. to the whole population. But there is some research, we got to be honest, to suggest that maybe marijuana isn't good for you if you smoke too much of it. Maybe it makes you emotionally unstable or stupid. Well, the marijuana people have a retort to that. Today is 420, by the way, International Marijuana Day, and they trotted out their new spokesman to endorse it. And that new spokesman is a man who just got out of a mental hospital and can't speak a complete sentence. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, John Fetterman is celebrating 420. He tweeted this: "It's 420 on 420. That's the tweet," he said, as if trying to prove he can do math. "We know that's not true, though. Somebody wrote that for him, man." Happy 420 from us.
I think that was the first time I've ever cracked a smile at a Tucker Carlson joke. I did not like Tucker Carlson. A lot of people in my live chat, both in the morning slot and in the evening slot, have told me how great Tucker Carlson was, how everybody needs to go watch him, and how awesome that is. I had never cared for Tucker Carlson. I thought he was scripted. I thought that he was fake. He said a lot of things that a lot of conservatives wanted to hear, but a lot of that was the avenue of what they wanted to hear. There were times that I questioned whether he believed the things that he was saying, or whether he was putting it out there for what people wanted to hear for the ratings. I've always questioned that about Tucker. And one of the big concerns that I'd always had was the fact that, yes, in spite of the fact that they say that they give him so much latitude, he can do this, so much of that, I don't think that he had the latitude that everyone thought that he had. And I think that he was constantly being watched, and one step out of line and he was going to be done. And yes, that is in spite of the fact that he could bring in the audience. Steve Bannon reacting live to this, by the way.
Breaking news, I'm sure some people have seen this. Tucker Carlson and Fox News have parted ways. The last show of Tucker Carlson tonight was Friday night. So this actually obviously came to a head over the weekend. No announcements from Tucker to date. We're going to try to track down Posobiec and maybe Darren Beatty, some other folks. But Blockbuster News, which I've said, hey, the reason to watch Fox, you got Maria in the morning, you've got Jesse, right? He's getting there, but Tucker's really the reason to watch Fox. With this, I don't know why anybody needs to watch anything on the Murdoch Empire, because Tucker was the mainstay of the populist voice over at Fox, and this is Blockbuster News. Tucker's announced he's leaving, and not just that, the last show was Friday night. So tonight they're going to replace it with, I don't know, Fox News Tonight or something, but no Tucker Carlson at Fox News. And it looks like no Tucker Carlson at Fox Nation, the streaming service. We'll get more details.
So, yeah, he seems a little bit awry by this. This clip is in my Discord, but I have not watched it yet. Because basically I got out of work late again, and I started organizing tabs and everything. So I'm kind of interested to hear this, because the people who were commenting on it in my Discord were saying, and S8 for all of his glory posted it as the video and not as a link that I could use to bring over to the other side. So I'm glad that Post Millennial brought it in. But they said that Harris almost sounded like she was crying. Let's listen.
We have some news from within our Fox family. Fox News Media and Tucker Carlson have mutually agreed to part ways. Tucker's last show was this past Friday. And starting tonight, Fox News Tonight will air live at 8 p.m. Eastern. It will be an interim show with rotating Fox News personalities until a new host is named. We want to thank Tucker Carlson for his service to the network as a host, and prior to that, as a long-term contributor.
Yeah, she was hurting for that one. But yes, Tucker is out at this point. I have no idea who the new host is, because I'm on at the same time. That'll be an interesting side note to this too, because I didn't know this at the time. I thought he was on later, but apparently I'm on at the same time as Tucker was. I thought it was after that. I thought he was on at like 8 or something. Maybe, I'm not sure. But no, it did say he was 8, so 7 local time. But Tucker is out. Let's grab one from CNN, who's got the video, see how Fox announced Tucker Carlson's departure on air, which I think we just watched. I think that was the Harris-Faulkner thing.
Some of Carlson's 3 million viewers will be surprised when they tune in tonight, and they'll find their favorite anchor missing. But if you were watching last hour, this is how you learned on Fox of this dramatic decision.
We have some news from within our Fox family. Fox News Media and Tucker Carlson have mutually agreed to part ways. Tucker's last show was this past Friday. We want to thank Tucker Carlson for his service to the network as a host, and prior to that, as a long-term contributor.
I want to bring in our CNN media analyst, Sarah Fisher. Sarah, just the way that was read right there, Harris Faulkner reading that on the air very calmly, very quickly, very dispassionately. Have you learned anything in the minute since we've learned this big news to the big question, which is why?
Well, we've asked Dominion spokespeople if this is explicitly tied. They said that there is nothing they can share yet about whether it's tied to the settlement. But the other thing that we're worried about or thinking about right now is what those tapes from former Fox producer Abby Grossberg may have uncovered. Of course, you'll recall that she was part of this suit in that she claimed that Fox News had sort of meddled with her testimony. She had then put out an amended legal filing shortly before the court case and said that basically there was tapes in which Rudy Giuliani and others were saying things about the voting machine fraud, Dominion, et cetera. So one could ask yourselves, is there something implicating there? But there was nothing that was a part of this agreement, to your point, John, that said that any personnel would be fired from the settlement. In fact, within this settlement.
And we'll be talking about that just a bit later on in the show when we look at the speculation as to why. Let's grab one from the Associated Press. Fox News ousts Tucker Carlson, its most popular host, in what actually might be the most objective headline, which we don't typically get from the Associated Press. They have turned into the more reliable newswire. They've turned from that into another left-wing editorialized rag. But this is from David Bowder. Fox News on Monday ousted primetime host Tucker Carlson, whose stew of grievances and political theories about Russia and okay, there's the editorializing. Didn't take him long. And political theories about Russia and the January 6th insurrection had grown to define the network in recent years and make him an influential force in GOP politics. Fox said the network and Carlson had agreed to part ways, but offered no explanation for the stunning move, saying that the last broadcast of Tucker Carlson Tonight aired on Friday. Carlson ended the show saying, "We'll be back on Monday." The break, yeah, we know, $787 million lawsuit, and 60 Minutes talking about Ray Epps. We'll be talking about that later on. Shares of Fox slid 4% within seconds. They recovered, but down 2.9 at the end of trading. We'll be talking about that. And some more going on with that. So I thought they were going to be objective, and then done. Editorialized from USA Today. This will be the interesting one. Everything to know about top-rated Fox News host Tucker Carlson's exit. A seismic shift. From Brian Alexander. Fox News and Tucker's, the top-rated cable host, are parting ways, the network announced on Monday. Carlson, 53, did not telegraph the news on Friday's show, and Fox never gave him the opportunity to address his viewers. That's because I don't think he knew on Friday. Network spokespeople didn't respond to the request to elaborate for the reasons for his departure, but it quickly followed last week's $87.5 million payment Fox agreed to make for Dominion. I don't think that's it. Honestly, I don't. Among the network's election deniers, because this is the USA Today and they also have to editorialize everything, Lou Dobbs exited February 2021. Dan Bongino was dropped last week. That was a mutual. They couldn't agree on a new contract, and Bongino makes more money off his Rumble channel than he did at Fox. Pirro and Bartiromo, among the staunchest defenders of Trump who echoed the claims of the 2020 election, remain at the network for now. Tucker defends Trump on air, bashes him in text because, well, That was an old story. Media figures react to Carlson's exits. Charlie Kirk, the left is celebrating because they think that Tucker is leaving Fox News eliminates his voice. Wrong. Let me finish this up here, and then we're going to talk about what could be next for him. And that's not something that these people are going to talk about, the people that I have up here, but I've got some speculation for that. Graham Allen, Tucker's last moment on Fox was spent eating a pizza with a hero delivery man who stopped a carjacker. I'm interested. You have my curiosity, Graham Allen. Let's watch. Except I can't because it's archived. It's at 4:51 p.m. I bet you we can find it. If we scroll down his Twitter feed. Oh, look, we got view video too. Look at that. Hey, look, there's the tweet.
Tonight, we interviewed a heroic pizza delivery man called Tyler Morrell, and ever conscious of the opportunity to use our job to get free food, we thought we'd like to taste your pizza. Tyler Morrell joins us in studio. He will deliver literally anywhere. Tyler, it is so great to meet you in person.
A couple Coco's pies.
So these are from Coco's, established 1978. Everybody loves Coco's Pizza.
That's right.
Where's Coco's based?
Aston, Pennsylvania, and Delaware County.
Delaware County, best part of the state.
I think we have a special
these are cheese pies.
We have a special pie for you here. Here's Tucker's pie.
So I am, as you can likely tell, a pizza aficionado. I was a pizza delivery boy for 2 years.
Is it warm at all?
Yeah, it's totally warm. These warmers are just like one of the great wonders of science. And this is sausage.
That's sausage
and pineapple. And really quick, as a pizza professional, do you look down on this order? Is this?
I do.
No, it should have onion on it as well. Sausage, onion, and pineapple. The best pie that's out there.
I think that I consider a criminal.
I knew you did. I used to deliver pizzas and calzones. I considered them immoral, but I delivered them anyway.
It's actually still hot. It's actually still hot. All the way from
It's so good. It's unbelievable. And you are a hero. How's your leg, by the way? Your leg was injured by the fleeing armed, the car thief.
It's got a bone bruise on it. Down here.
Oh, damn, I can see it.
Yeah, it's not too bad, though.
Were your family and friends impressed by what you did?
They were. They're actually here with me today.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go, once I've stuffed myself on your pineapple and sausage, and you're right, it is a disgusting order, but I have no shame. I'm going to go meet the... Oh, there they are! We just thought, what a great way to end a week.
Yeah.
Truly, that was a great segment, and I'm just grateful that you came on, and I'm especially grateful for the pie.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Employee
of the week, we're just make it of the year, Tyler Morrell of Coco's Pizza. That's it for us for the week. We'll be back. By the way, the entire episode of Let Them Eat Bugs, not quite as good as pizza, streaming now on Fox Nation. Use the promo code ORIGINALS for 30
Not anymore.
days free. And we'll be back on Monday. In the meantime, have the best weekend with the ones that you love, and we'll see you then.
That is a good way to go out. I will say that. A guy who stopped a carjacking while delivering a pizza, bringing him pizza. That's the way to go. If I ever, for whatever stupid reason, lost my sanity and agreed to go on to a major network and then got canned from that major network, that's how I would want to go. Now, mind you, I would never go to a major network. Crowder's trending. I might address that at the end of the show tonight, just so you know. My thoughts on that and the way that people are reacting to it. Before we go down into some of the other reaction, which we don't need to watch the Aaron Rupar video because we just watched the rest of it, I want to talk just a bit about what happens next for Tucker. Now, right now, we don't know the details and anything else that goes along with that. I don't know if there was a contract signed. I don't know if there are anti-compete clauses that are out there. I know Bongino didn't have one because he was openly competing with Fox News while he was contracted with Fox News, so there wasn't a non-compete going on there. But one thing that I'm going to tell you, I don't care for Tucker, but a lot of people do. Like, one of my coworkers today, when I told him, was all but in tears when he found out that Tucker was off Fox News. Like, I actually thought the dude needed a hug when he found out today. The top-rated Fox News host, one of the top-rated news hosts in history, does not need Fox News to get his message out there. I mean, he could he doesn't even need to do this in his living room like I do. This guy's got FU money and can walk out, pay a professional to put a professional studio in his home in Maine, I believe it is, and get rid of all the Fox News banners, and then continue to go back and do his show on... I'm sure YouTube is going to radically demote him, so maybe not YouTube, but he can probably call up Bongino and get an exclusive contract with Rumble. And not only make more than he was on Fox, because they're probably getting a considerably bigger share than he was getting on Fox, but also make Rumble more than Rumble's ever been worth before. Again, the details are going to be in the contracts and the negotiations for the ouster and the breach of the contract that Fox News had to go through to get rid of him. Given the fact that both sides keep telling us that it's mutual, though, I've got this feeling that he's going to go pick up a high-end webcam or even actual professional studio equipment. Again, this is an heir to... it's not Kraft, it's another big fortune. I don't remember which one it is, but he is an heir to one of the bigger fortunes out there. He's just going to go out and get a studio and a new producer, and he's going to be just fine. In fact, I do fear that there's going to be some overshadow for the rest of us in the alternative media sphere. I will not watch his program, but I know a lot of people will. I actually might curiosity watch to see if the message changes, if he starts ripping on Trump or something else like that. I don't know that he will, because I don't think he's going to bring in an audience if he does. The vast majority of his viewers were Trump supporters, even if he was bashing him in text messages. But he can start off on Rumble, he can go to BitChute, he can do an audio only. He can self-produce and probably make a comparable living to what he was making off of Fox. So... yeah, we've got a few things going on with that. Immediately before this, we've got some AOC news. Victor Shi, one of the new ones that's getting shoved down her throat. I think this is the one that replaced Cochiarella, because I don't see his stupid ass anymore, but I see this guy like every third tweet. Comes out and says, "Holy cow! AOC is tearing apart Fox News on Jen Psaki's show right now, describing Tucker Carlson and Fox. AOC says what they did and are continuing to do is clear incitement of violence. We need more people like AOC serving in office. She's truly one of our best." And it's one of those how stunning, how brave moves off of this. And then he's also got the video linked below, 13 seconds of it, not anywhere near the whole thing. Well, I commented on this. I don't know if mine will come to the top. Probably not. Yeah, it is. Mine came right to the top. So she's propagandizing on a propaganda network with no possibility of a rebuttal. How stunning. How brave. But let's listen to these brave 13 seconds where she gets to go off on her political enemies with absolutely no rebuttal whatsoever.
Out on air and what isn't. And when you look at what Tucker Carlson and some of these other folks on Fox do, it is very, very clearly incitement of violence. Out on air and what is...
That's ripping them apart right there. It's very... Oh, hold on, we gotta do AOC voice. It's very, very clearly incitement of violence, okay, puppy? That's ripping them apart. Thank you, Victor Shi, for that hyperbolic statement of insane accuracy. She goes on. AOC suggests government should drop hammer on Fox News for very clearly inciting violence. But there's a glaring problem from Chris Enlow. And the red-haired bobblehead circled back to that, by the way. The Honorable and Venerable Alexandria Ocasio-Chavez, D-Twitch, suggested Sunday that the federal government needs to regulate Fox News because the network is very clearly guilty of inciting violence. Yes. A government entity regulating the press. The free press. What do we call that? The problem, though, is that Ocasio-Chavez did not provide any evidence to back her claim. MSDNC host, red-haired bobblehead, asked Ocasio-Chavez about Fox News' $787.5 million settlement with Dominion, and whether the company erred by not forcing Fox to acknowledge that they lied. In response, Chavez says the case raises much larger questions, including what content is permissible for broadcast. All content is permissible for broadcast. That's why we have a First Amendment. We have real issues of what is permissible on the air, okay, puppy? And we saw that with January 6th, and we saw that in the lead up to January 6th, okay, puppy? And how we navigate questions is not just a freedom of speech, but accountability for incitement of violence. This is the line that we really need to explore through the law as well, okay, puppy? When asked whether media organizations and social media platforms should be accountable for being platforms of the incitement, Ocasio-Cortez targeted Fox News and Tucker Carlson. I believe that when it comes to broadcast television like Fox News, these are subject to federal law and federal regulation, okay, puppy? In terms of what's allowed on air and what isn't. When you look at what Tucker Carlson and some of these other folks on Fox do, it is very, very clearly incitement of violence, okay, puppy? Very clearly incitement of violence. What's the problem? While Chavez claimed that Fox is very clearly guilty of inciting violence and thus needs to be regulated, like the socialist and communist countries that she loves so much, due to their journalists, she did not provide any evidence to back her allegations. The First Amendment protects nearly all speech, but the Supreme Court has defined a few narrow exceptions. The landmark case Brandenburg versus Ohio, for example, ruled that one type of unprotected speech is that which is directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action and is likely to incite or produce such an action. Thus, if Fox was guilty of inciting violence, or, in the words of the Supreme Court, imminent lawless action, then surely Ocasio-Chavez could point to a time when Fox News as a media entity or any of its employees directly called for its viewers to break the law and commit violent acts. The inability to provide such examples speaks for itself. Meanwhile, to explore through law ways to hold accountable media organizations would require an amendment to the Constitution because the Supreme Court has a long-established precedent for interpreting the First Amendment protections, and it almost never goes in the government's favor. Except for Brandenburg, obviously. So, and it's always stunning to me to see these people, like red-haired bobblehead, and the Honorable and Venerable Alexandria Ocasio-Chavez, D-Twitch, who are so comfortable with using the gun of the government to go after their political enemies and silence their political enemies. And they would cry foul if anybody from the MAGA side called for the same thing. In fact, they have. Because there have been tons of instances of people calling for MSDNC to be taken down as propaganda. I'm glad they don't do it, but there have been tons of calls for it. Last one, and then we're going to move on to some reactions to this, comes from the Daily Wire. Bongino stunned, reacting live to Fox parting ways with Tucker. From Daniel Shayton. That's kind of where I was going with that, Grant, actually. When I started doing the AOC impression, that's where I tried to go, was the most obvious fake Latina that's out there. Because she, like Elaine pointed out when I started doing it, that she doesn't actually have that accent, which I understand, and I've listened to her talk before. But the fact that she makes being Puerto Rican like the centerpiece of her personality, especially when it can score political points, that's what I'm making fun of. Popular pundit Dan Bongino reacted with shock upon learning that Fox News had parted ways with top-rated host Tucker Carlson. I'm stunned. I don't even know what to say right now. Let's watch.
I get it. Look, folks, I got to tell you, I got actual goosebumps here. There are very rare moments in the show where I have to stop the show completely, especially in a live chat. Not stop the show, but Apparently, Tucker Carlson and Fox are done. What? I'm reading it right here that just broke. I mean, it's the benefit of a live show. I'm like stunned. I'm stunned. I don't even know what to say right now. I'm like, I don't even know how I'm going to get back to that segment. Fox News and Tucker Carlson have agreed to part ways. We thank him for his service. His last program was Friday, April 21st. Is this... What? Wow. I mean, I got 6 texts here from people. Holy Moses. I didn't even get the comment. It's Fugazi. This Fugazi's got a huge pass. Fugazi's like, bring in the reliever.
Dude, I don't know what's going on with Dan's microphone. And he's got one of the microphones that I looked at when I started, back when I was poor and I didn't have a lot of money, but still dreamed of the Rode. He should be putting off a lot better audio quality than what he's got over there. I don't know if it's just because this is a recording over something or whatnot, but this is whatever Mischief put up, keep in mind, too, so.
I don't even know what to say. That is just shocking news, and so you all understand. Again, I have no inside knowledge of what was happening there at all. I don't even care to speculate about what happened, but I suspect Tucker Carlson will be getting a lot of offers from a lot of people.
And possibly so. I still think that he should be going directly to his own production. I think that's the best place for him, honestly. I don't know that he will. That's the thing. But that's what we have for that. I kept, when I was looking through this, by the way, I kept the Google search up here just because I wanted to. I mean, I kept some of them on here, but it's almost a seesaw when you look through the various platforms here. He got canned, broadcast bloodbath, leaving Fox News, Al Jazeera parts ways, NBC is leaving Fox News, the Associated Press oust Tucker Carlson. So not even the mainstream media can come to an agreement over who did what. CNN, Tucker's out. New York Times, Tucker's dismissed. Wall Street Journal, Fox News ousts. NPR ousted. So it's almost a 50-50. Pushed out by Rupert Murdoch is the LA Times, but I don't have that one. No, I do have that one up on the stack, so we'll be talking about that in a bit. But there is definitely a seesaw effect looking at what actually happened with this. So we'll see. Some of the reactions to this and some of the speculation that's going on around here. We're going to start with friend of the show, Wisconsin Neanderthal, Wiz Political. Breaking news, Tucker has left Fox News. Friday was his last show. I only watch Tucker. Well, Wiz, you are a braver man than I, because I didn't even do that. Bearing a legal or criminal reason for his departure, I believe Fox made a huge mistake in ending their relationship with Tucker. With the statement from Fox. Fox and Tucker have agreed to part ways. We thank him for his service, the network as a host, and prior to that as a contributor. That was a quote from Harris. Yeah, everything here we've all read already, so that's one reaction. LA Times trying to tell us why Tucker Carlson departs Fox News, pushed out by Rupert Murdoch. From Stephen Battaglio. Tucker is leaving Fox News. Let's see. A Fox rep had no other details on Carlson's exit. People familiar with the situation, unnamed as usual, who are not authorized to comment publicly, said the decision to fire Carlson came straight from Fox Corp chairman Rupert Murdoch. Unnamed. Carlson's exit is, not maybe, because it's the LA Times, but is related to the discrimination lawsuit filed by Abby Grossberg, the producer fired by the network last month, the People said. Carlson's senior executive producer, Justin Wells, has also been terminated. According to people familiar with the matter, a Fox News rep would not comment. Murdoch is also said to be concerned over Carlson's coverage of the January 6th insurrection, the selfie fest at the U.S. Capitol, in which the hostess promoted the conspiracy theory that was provoked by government agents. The editorialization comes up. That's part of the reason that I have this in here. Carlson has called Ray Epps a Texas man, an Arizona man, by the way, who participated in the storming, the being allowed in and taking selfies, but did not enter the building, an FBI plant without presenting any evidence. Epps was interviewed on 60 Minutes. Yeah, we'll be talking about that later on. However, some of the comments Carlson has made about management and communications that turned up in the discovery process for the case may have also played a role in Carlson's demise. Dominion accused Fox of knowingly making false claims related to 2020. Grossberg was moved off Sunday Morning Futures with Barty Romo, and on to Tucker Carlson tonight, where she said she was bullied and subjected to anti-Semitic comments. She filed a lawsuit in New York. Well, there you go. I've got several friends who are now going to become Tucker fans if this is true. So, again, unnamed sources. This could be the night janitor who's looking for a payout and a payday from the LA Times. NPR. Make sure you donate to NPR. Also, coming in and weighing in on what happened here. Tucker Carlson ousted at Fox News following network's $787 million settlement. This was on All Things Considered from David Folkenflick. And remember to hit that donate button because NPR needs our money, comrade, to make sure that you know that Tucker Carlson was evil and needed to be ousted and definitely was fired, even though we don't have the details and nobody at Fox is going to comment. Well, let's read. In an austere 4-sentence statement, Fox News announced Monday that primetime star Tucker is leaving the network effective immediately. In a lawsuit filed with the SDNY, Grossberg accused Carlson and Fox of sexism and harassment, alleging that his show's workplace was replete with examples of misogyny. Her lawsuit claims, among other things, that mocked-up photographic images depicted then U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi in a bathing suit revealing her cleavage. That was a meme that was going around, and that staffers were polled on 2 separate occasions on which of 2 female candidates for Michigan governor they would rather have sex with. Ugh. Oh, because you know that. Oh my God, no. You know that Whitmer was on that. Ugh. Hold on, I need a second to get my composure here. Tucker's departure from Fox News is in part an admission of the systemic lying, bullying, conspiracy mongering claimed by our clients, said Tanvir Ryman, one of Grossberg's lawyers, in a statement Monday afternoon. Mr. Carlson and his subordinates remain individual defendants in the SDNY case, and we look forward to taking their depositions under oath in the very near term. Well, see, the problem is he's not an employee of Fox News anymore, so he can go and tell you to fuck yourself at this point. Your lawsuit is with the network. Carlson's no longer with the network, so... Grossberg's other lawsuit in Delaware focuses on the action of Fox's legal team. She says the attorneys pressured her to lie in her sworn statements for the defamation case about what she witnessed at the network. So I think a lot of people are going to try to push this as the Grossberg thing. I don't think that's it. I don't. Nor do I actually believe that this was enough to take somebody off the network or file a lawsuit either, but I don't think that was it. Henrik Palmgren. We now have some more clarity regarding why Tucker was fired. We don't know that he was fired. A Jewish woman, Abby Grossberg, who herself was subpoenaed by Smartmatic over election fraud claims, turned the tables on Tucker, his executive producer, and sued them over anti-Semitism and sexism. No, she sued the network. From bad election denier Nazi to victim superstar overnight. You can't make it up. And yes, the usual Twitter folk saying the things that they typically say when somebody has a certain last name. And in the reaction to this, Henry Rogers with the tweet, appears Fox stock is crashing after announcing Tucker's show is over. That's right, it is down $1.48, which is 5%. Over all of its shares, of which there were many. Its market cap was $16.49 billion. So think of how many shares of 2934 it takes to get to $16.49 billion, and all of them lost 1.5%. That is probably not good. From Ron Helton. I miss Ron Helton, by the way. From Ron Helton's favorite publication from his favorite politician. From Bloomberg. Tucker Carlson's Fox News exit erases $507 million in value. From Bailey Lipschultz. Oh look, they paywalled me. You bastards. And apparently the archiver is not working. Well, they lost more. From Markets Insider, this one I did archive. Fox Corporation sheds $962 million in market value after announcing Carlson is leaving the news network. From Matthew Fox. Fox Corporation stock fell as much as 5% on Monday and erased $962 million after it was announced that Fox News Media had parted ways with its host Tucker Carlson. Class A shares of the media recovered slightly and were trading at $32.65, down almost 3%, at 1:32 p.m. Eastern Time. The split between Carlson and Fox comes just 1 week after the company settled a defamation suit with Dominion for $787.5 million because of the network's spread of misinformation related to the 2020 U.S. presidential election and unfounded claims of election fraud. Yeah, that's got to be painful in any universe. Almost $1 billion in a few seconds. Let's grab one from Time. Don't say that very often around here, although I've been saying it more and more lately. Tucker and Don Lemon, a tale of two sudden cable news exits. From Judy Berman. In a matter of minutes on Monday, the face of cable news changed dramatically. First, Fox reported it had parted ways with Tucker, the host of the conservative cable news network's hit 8 p.m. show Tucker Carlson Tonight. Then just as the Succession memes started flowing, longtime CNN host Don Lemon posted a note on Twitter informing followers that he'd just heard by his agent that the network was firing him. CNN has since disputed that characterization, tweeting that Lemon was offered an opportunity to meet with management but instead released a statement on Twitter. It's tempting to lump these two departures, considering that they were announced almost simultaneously. Lemon was open about his termination, whereas Carlson's exit was publicly framed as a mutual decision. A source at Fox confirmed at Time that the decision was not a financial one, and suggested that Carlson was likely surprised by the decision. I think everybody was surprised by that decision. Carlson and Lemon have something else in common too. Both men are controversial, and have faced backlash from the media and the public as well as their co-workers. The Fox News star leans into his role as a provocateur, promoting far-right, right-wing agenda that barely bothers to conceal its grounding in racism, sexism, xenophobia, conspiracy thinking, religious intolerance and hatred of the LGBTQIRAMIGXTBYOUMAEIOU sometimes Y community. His less inflammatory. Oh my god. His less inflammatory CNN counterpart, meanwhile, has been mired in accusations of misogyny and bad behavior on set. But it would be a mistake to read their tandem dismissals as some righteous act on the part of cable news media writ large to purge itself as the toxic men. The cases have important differences, though both will surely impact how TV covers the 2024 presidential election. Yes, the cases have one important difference, and only one. The letter after the name of the hosts. Well, there's a second one here because Don Lemon likes to dress up in fairy clothing and pretend that he's a taffy apple when he's not on air. So yes, we're going to talk about Don Lemon now. I don't have near as much stuff on Don Lemon. From CNBC, CNN fires anchor Don Lemon in the wake of the sexist comments reported mistreatment of colleagues. From Annika Kim Constantino. CNN on Monday fired anchor Don Lemon in the wake of sexist on-air comments and reports that he mistreated female coworkers during his 17 years at the network. An hour before Lemon announced his termination, Fox News said Tucker is leaving. Dude, like Grant was saying earlier, the thing with Lemon was almost entirely overshadowed by Tucker. CNBC can't even put an article out about Lemon's firing without somehow referencing Tucker. Also on Sunday, Jeff Shell of NBC Universal also left his role due to an inappropriate relationship with a woman in the company. I would have thought that someone in management would have had the decency to tell me directly, Lemon said it. Lemon 57 said in a Twitter post. At no time was I ever given any indication that I would not be able to continue to do the work I have loved at this network. Lemon added that it's clear that there's some larger issues at play without offering more details. CNN later on Monday disputed Lemon's account of his departure. The network called Lemon's comments inaccurate, saying he was offered an opportunity to meet with management, but instead released a statement on Twitter. So they told him that he was fired and said that he could come back and meet with management and discuss why he was fired, but instead he just went out and said, "Hey, look, everybody on Twitter, I'm fired." Shortly after Lemon first tweeted that he was fired, the network CEO Chris Licht said the anchor and CNN parted ways. Don will forever be part of the CNN family, and we thank him for his contributions over the past 17 years, the network said in a statement. We wish him well and will be cheering him on in his future endeavors. So, one of the big things with Lemon, and the difference between him and Tucker, because I'm going to do the exact same thing I just accused CNBC of doing, is the fact that Tucker's release is actually going to hurt his parent network. The only people who are going to be mad and sell off their CNN stock were Don Lemon's 14 viewers. So, there's that. USA Today. Don Lemon says he's been fired. Network disputes details. We talked about that already. I never do this. I should do this before I get started. I thought I did this already. I'll fix it next time. Lemon says CNN fired him and is stunned by his termination. From Caitlin Yilick. I was informed this morning by my agent I've been terminated by CNN. Yeah, there's not really big details about this. The women past their prime, like Mr. Scott brought up here. In response to Haley calling for mandatory mental competency tests for politicians over the age of 75, Limon said that Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. Sorry. When a woman is considered to be in her prime, in her 20s, 30s, and maybe 40s, he said. Prime for what? Poppy Harlow asked. Are you talking about prime for like childbearing or prime for being president? Limon said that a Google search would show that a woman is considered to be in her prime at the ages that he mentioned. So, he gone. Here is the statement from Limon. I was informed this morning by my agent I have been terminated by CNN. I'm stunned. After 17 years at CNN, I would have thought that someone in management would have had the decency to tell me directly. At no time was I ever given any indication that I would not be able to continue to do the work that I've loved in the network. It is clear that there are some larger issues at play. With that said, I want to thank my colleagues and the many teams I have worked with for an incredible run. They are the most talented journalists in the business, and I wish them all the best. Sticks coming off here at the beginning, saying something that I probably still can't say on YouTube, so... Educate yourself on how to program computers, Don Limon. Scott Pressler actually coming on here in the favor of Limon. We haven't always agreed on issues, but I want to thank you for having me on your program. This was my first ever live television appearance in 2017. So, some other details about this. Krasenstein, in one of his major complaints with Tucker being fired, we know that he, Hannity, Pirro, and others knowingly propagated lies in their broadcasts. And then the shot chaser with CNN, Brian saying we're all dishonest with the statement we just read from Limon, and CNN Communications saying Don Limon's statement about this morning's events is inaccurate. He was offered an opportunity to meet with management, but instead released a statement on Twitter. And the last one on Bloody Monday, from CNN Politics, Susan Rice to step down from role as domestic policy advisor. From Donald Judd. White House domestic policy advisor Susan Rice will leave her administration post next month, an official tells CNN, marking one of the Biden admin's highest profile departures, as the president's domestic agenda stalls in a divided Congress. Rice's final day will be May 26th, the official said. NBC News first reported her upcoming departure. A person familiar with the matter told CNN that a replacement for Rice has not been settled upon, but Neera Tanden, the current staff secretary, is being considered for the job. I wonder how it's going to be for her to get confirmed by the Senate. Although, with Feinstein, no, actually, we're still not in a good position. Biden offered elusive praise for Rice in a statement Monday, writing, that there's no one more capable and more determined to get important things done for the American people than Susan Rice. As the only person to serve as both national security advisor and domestic policy advisor, Susan's records of public service makes history. But what sets her apart as a leader and colleague is the seriousness with which she takes her role and the urgency and tenacity she brings. Her bias towards action and results, and the integrity, humility, and humor with which she does this work. I thank Susan for her service, her counsel, and her friendship. I will miss her, man. Come on. In a tweet on Monday, Rice said that she was deeply grateful to Biden for the opportunity. And this is somebody who I'm going to come right off and say probably should have been let go quite a while ago. I mean, Biden's domestic policy is in the tank. It's in the crapper. I understand that many of these shootings are staged, but we have had mass shooting after mass shooting, publicly and televised. Not counting the ones that don't get publicly televised because they don't meet the narrative. Or we don't count gang violence unless it's to say that we've had 70 billion mass shootings in the year. I had one of those touch-betweens arguing with me on Twitter one day, and then he blocked me when I reminded him that every town uses the statistics of the gang violence, even if he doesn't. But, I mean, the transgender thing in sports, the fact that real wages are dropping, and Bed Bath & Beyond is gone, layoffs are mounting, and we are looking in the direction of a major recession. Our border is in shambles, and there's no plan for trying to bring some of this business back and get people back to work. Other than opening up factories and then getting a bunch of tech guys laid off so they have no choice but to go and work in the factories. That's the only thing that I can figure of what's actually happening with the Biden admin. And if that's true, that is a conspiracy theory that there is not enough tinfoil in the world for. The big one here was, why did this wait so long? But Rice is out. Yeah, I don't think he wrote that statement. I think you're right, Mr. Scott. I think he's gone. Yeah, Wolf Blitzer still has a job somehow. I have no idea how. Let's talk about Ray Epps. I've got a few articles on this. Now, first thing, and this was before I found out about the Tucker thing, this actually might have completely slipped my memory, except for the fact that I was just finishing up listening to this interview when I first heard about the Tucker thing. But Ray Epps was on 60 Minutes last night. And I know, like, when The Plant, Marjorie Taylor Greene, was on there, I said I was going to listen to it, and I never got around to it. I made sure for this one that I wanted to listen to this and hear, because, I mean, this is a person who claims that he's in hiding and then goes and runs to every opportunity to go to CBS and tell his story, which means that at some point, somebody found him. I don't know when or how, but at some point, somebody in the private sector found him. CBS being state-affiliated media aside, we're still going to call that the private sector for purposes of the left-wing arguments about these things. I listened to that, and I mean, the first thing I said, number one, this was supposed to be a 13-minute interview with Epps. It wasn't. I don't know how long the actual interview was with Ray Epps, but what I can tell you is that there was a grand total of 3 minutes and 26 seconds of Epps talking to the interviewer, and everything else was explaining what had happened, how he had got there, showing clips of him saying, "Let's go into the Capitol," and saying that meant that he was still innocent. I would love to see the raw interview with Epps, but CBS is never going to let that go. There are a lot of raw interviews that CBS has done in 60 Minutes that I'd like to see. The Biden one, that's the one that I want to see. But reading from Insider, a Trump supporter who went into hiding over a January 6th conspiracy theory, says Tucker Carlson is obsessed with him. From Sophia Enkel. I think that was an act, too, by the way. I'll explain that in just a moment. Ray Epps, a Trump supporter, honk honk, who went into hiding after becoming the target of a January 6th conspiracy theory, told 60 Minutes that Tucker Carlson is obsessed with him. In an interview that aired on Sunday, Epps told 60 Minutes that Tucker is going to any means possible to destroy my life. He's obsessed with me, Epps said about Carlson. On Monday, Fox announced that Carlson was leaving the network. They didn't give a reason for his departure. Epps, a 61-year-old Marine veteran and former business owner from Arizona, has been the center of baseless theory that claimed that he worked with the FBI for the FBI and helped incite the insurrection. I will debunk that as well. The theory comes from some on the far right to blame the insurrection on federal agents, who they claimed wanted a reason to provoke a crackdown on conservatives. Well, I mean, if you don't want people to believe that you were looking for a reason to crack down on conservatives, then stop fucking cracking down on conservatives, you morons. conspiracy theories have been pushed by a group of people, including Carlson, former President Trump, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Carlson has mentioned Epps on his television show, Tucker Tonight, half a dozen times this year alone, 60 Minutes reported. Epps told 60 Minutes he thinks Carlson continues to cover the conspiracy theory to shift blame on somebody else. If you look at it, Fox News, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Ted Cruz, Matt Gaetz, they're all telling us before this thing it was stolen, so you tell me who has a more impact on the people, them or me, Epps said. Fox News did not immediately respond to Insider's request for comment. Alright, let's look at some of what they're actually saying in here. And I knew that it was going to be a majority of lies coming out of this interview. I knew that that's what that was going to be. I'd even tweeted out and said on Twitter that this is Leslie. I thought it was going to be Leslie Stahl that was going to be the one doing it. I thought it was going to be 13 minutes of Leslie Stahl telling the people what they're supposed to think about Ray Epps, with some carefully worded truth about it. No, this one was just outright falsehood. Complete falsehood. Like, every aspect of what we were seeing here is just complete falsity. I don't think I have met anybody who believes that Epps is the center conspirator towards what happened on January the 6th. And I do believe that there were agent provocateurs of the government that were in the crowd, that were pushing it. I don't believe that Epps ever worked for the FBI. What I think happened with Epps is what happened with a lot of other people who were out there as well. A reliable Democrat voter from the newly flipped Arizona on top of it was approached and said, "You look like your stereotypical boomer Trump conservative. So we're going to buy you a MAGA hat. We're going to fly you out to DC. Go in there and start telling people to go into the Capitol." You'll be classified as an independent contractor for this service. And there will be no record of your work with the federal government. You know, a lot of the same things that they'd said to Jack Ryan in Patriot Games. Officially, you don't exist. The problem that I have with Epps, number one, there's a lot of problem that I have with Epps. Number one is the fact that he is one of the only people where there is video evidence that is widely seen saying, let's go into the Capitol. We're in a situation where impeachment 2.0 and one of the criminal charges that Jack Kirby is looking into both involve simple speech to incite a riot. And he is the only person in a MAGA hat that our friends to the left don't want to see executed for treason. Anybody else who wears a MAGA hat that was as close to DC as Chevy Chase, Maryland, they want to see executed without trial for treason. Except for this one guy. That's why I have questions about it. I don't know what Epps did. I know that he was there. I know that he said go into the Capitol, but I don't know any details. Everything that I'm saying is speculation. But I'm trying to add up the photo and video that's in front of me and say, hey, what's going on here? The other problem that I have with this is that the Epps footage that we've seen, there are 3 clips that are floating around. We're all taken on cell phone video. That's pretty well documented. They weren't coming from an accredited journalist. They weren't coming from security cameras or body cams. They were coming from people like you and me in the midst of the crowd taking video. Those are the only 3 clips of citizen journalism that exist in the world that didn't get scrubbed from the internet on January 8th. Which tells me that this is a distraction of some sort to lead the people to Ray Epps and focus hyperbolically on Ray Epps. when he was either a well-known fall guy or the unfortunate bastard that happened to get caught on camera saying, "Let's go into the Capitol." Ray Epps says that he is forced to live in an RV in hiding after death threats over FBI informant conspiracy. That's concerned, he's never worked for them, as he slams right-wing theorists using him as a scapegoat. Well, they still found him. This was my favorite part. Ray Epps, January 6th protester now at the center of far-right conspiracy theories, says he relives the Capitol riot every day. Spare me. There are people that are still sitting in solitary, not given access to the lawyers, awaiting a speedy trial by a jury of their peers. I'm sure they're reliving it more than you are, Epps. Alright. If it hadn't been for the Tucker thing, there would have been a lot more diatribe on this one. But we're going to look over some of the other things that are going on in the news. And then we will be moving to live chat in about 15 minutes. So if you're watching or you want to get some friends in here to see what goes on in the live chat here, get in there. We will be looking at all the platforms, which means if you are on Rumble right now watching, which it says there's 6 people watching over there, or on the main channels, YouTube, Twitch, DLive, get your stuff in there. If you're on Odyssey, which I don't know if I've got anybody watching on Odyssey, no, it doesn't appear to be. Get your chats in over there. And we'll be reading that in about 15 minutes. So, let's keep going. Let's finish up here. Some news about the Sudan. Because those years of relative peace that we had just had to come to an end at some point. From ABC, U.S. Embassy staff in Sudan evacuated in fast and clean operation amid fighting. From Shannon K. Crawford and Luis Martinez. Which brings us to 2 embassies that were evacuated under Biden. Somebody said 3 on Twitter the other day, and I don't know what the third one would be, so I'm sticking with 2 for right now. I know Ukraine and now Sudan. 0 under the predecessor, I'm just saying. Under pitch black conditions and amid fighting, U.S. military forces, including the Navy's Elite SEAL Team 6, swooped into war-torn Sudan and evacuated the American embassy in a fast and clean operation, military officials said late Saturday evening. President Brandon confirmed the evacuation of U.S. government personnel from Khartoum was conducted Saturday under orders, and he said the admin would continue to assist Americans in Sudan. Biden praised embassy staff, saying that in a statement, they embodied America's friendship and connection with the people of the Sudan, man. Come on. I'm grateful for the unmatched skill of our service members who successfully brought them to safety. And I thank Djibouti, Ethiopia, and Saudi Arabia, which were critical to the success of our operation, man. Come on. I don't think he wrote that statement either. Biden says the embassy has been temporarily closed, but our commitment to the Sudanese people and the future that they want for themselves is unending. Unless it goes against what we want for them, and then we'll stage a coup for their new government. Lieutenant General Douglas A. Sims, Director of Operations for the Joint Chiefs, described the evacuation operation as being fast and clean. Sims said at a briefing the mission got underway at 0900 on Saturday, that's Eastern time by the way, when 2 MH-47 Chinook helicopters took off from Camp Lemonnier in Djibouti, refueled in Ethiopia, and flew back to Sudanese capital of Khartoum to evacuate the U.S. Embassy. He said the Special Forces team was on the ground in Khartoum for less than an hour. Sims said that under 100 people, including Americans from the embassy and other personnel from unidentified embassies, were evacuated, including all U.S. Marines who were providing security at the embassy. How do you think the Marines feel being rescued by the Navy? Overall, the rescue helicopters flew 1,600 miles from Djibouti to Khartoum and back. I like saying Djibouti, by the way. I think that's hilarious. Sims said that for much of the transit, the helicopters flew at 100 knots and low to the ground in pitch black conditions. He said the helicopters did not take any ground fire on their way in or out of Khartoum. So, another one evacuated. In election news, Daily Wire, which, by the way, we are looking for an archive from Fox News that does not ever seem to come. I wonder if the archiver is down. I wonder if the USA Today articles were like the last ones I was able to get in. But reading from the Daily Wire, because I was smart enough to get a backup at least. Biden challengers rage over lack of 2024 Dem debates. From Daniel Chayton. Two Democrats challenging President Brandon in the 2024 primary are calling foul over the absence of planned debates. Declared candidates Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and self-help author Crystal Grandmother took aim at the Democratic National Committee after the Washington Post reported the National Democrat Party said it will support Biden and has no plans to sponsor primary debates. The DNC at this point has taken the official position that there will be no debate, and I think that's unfortunate, Kennedy Jr. told Breitbart News. He also lamented how the DNC passed changes that would make South Carolina, where Biden began his primary comeback in 2020, the first nominating state in the party's presidential primary calendar ahead of Iowa and New Hampshire. There's too many Americans who already think the whole system is rigged against them, and this is confirmation of that, and I think that's troubling, Kennedy said. Crystal Grandma, who previously ran for president in 2020, tweeted her dismay with the DNC on Monday. As though there are simply no other candidates, no other ideas we should discuss about ways to win in 2024, or other ideas we should discuss about ways to repair the country, she said. Too many people are too smart to accept this. I don't know about that. I think that's going to be a little bit of a stretch, Marianne. On the Republican side, where former President Trump is seeking re-election among a growing pool of candidates, Fox has been chosen to host the first primary debate in August. Biden has said he intends to seek re-election, but has yet to make the official announcement. The Washington Post, where democracy goes to die in darkness last week, said that aides were finalizing plans to release a video Tuesday to officially launch Biden's campaign. Which means we will probably be watching that tomorrow. A mere 26% of Americans and 47% of Democrats want Biden to run again, according to a recent Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs research poll. The same poll found that 78% of Democrats say they approve of Biden's job performance, and 81% say they will at least probably support Biden if he becomes the nominee in the general. I don't think this is as much of a panic attack as members of our media are trying to make it out to be. Now, there were some also-rans that ran in 2020 against Trump. But the big fireworks spectacle was the open primary on the Democratic side. What did they wind up having? Like 25, 27 people in their primary process? Only to land on a befuddled, demented old man who knew too much about the government and needed to be protected by executive privilege for the rest of his life. a lot of people are pointing that out too when they find out the fact that Republicans are upset, and even like RFK Jr. and Marianne Williamson both being upset. They're pointing out the fact that, oh, well, evil Donald Trump didn't have to do debates in the primary, and he's evil. They should have let them go, but they didn't, so we don't have to do debates for our primary. Okay, number one, if you think it was wrong, which you clearly do, because Orange Man bad, then show us how it's done. Have the primary debate. It was Joe Walsh and one other person, by the way, that ran. And I don't remember who the third person was. Neither one of them broke double digits. Williamson and Kennedy are both in double digits right now. And I do think that's worth noting. But more importantly, and this is something that's going to go back and forth in politics until we have a revolution in this country, is the fact that, oh, evil other side did that, so we're going to do it too. I'm going to be completely frank with you, it was wrong for Fox and the RNC and Ronna Romney McDaniel to go without having debates. If there were people that were interested in taking on Trump, I mean, for the realism of it, we could have at least gotten the meme of the Donald coming up with a nasty name for Joe Walsh. God knows he needs it. Or whatever other Bushite neocon they could have put up there. They should have had a debate. There were candidates running. The Donald should have had an opportunity to defend his position and his ideas. I understand that with single-digit polling and also ran candidates, he could pull the excuse of, I'm not going to go to debate. I'm busy running 50 other states. I'm busy running the country. We're in the middle of a pandemic, so I'm not going to do this. But I think they should have forced him. I think that he should have had a debate. If nothing else, to strengthen and steel his positions. It was wrong for them to deny Joe Walsh and also ran number 2, the debate stage. Somebody is over here on D-Live that forgot they had D-Live. Fact totem. Oh, that's Mr. Scott. No, because they won't get Biden up there. That's I mean, they might, but they won't get Biden up there. So no, they should have an open and public debate. 3 of them, in fact. And let the people hear and decide. They really should. Biden, in one of his usual gaffes, from RNC Research. They're coming for your children, folks. Let's listen.
Rebecca put a teacher's creed into words when she said, there's no such thing as someone else's child. No such thing as someone else's child. Our nation's children are all our children. Rebecca put a teacher's creed into words when she said, there's no such thing as someone else's child. No such thing as someone else's child. Our nation's children are all our children. Rebecca put a teacher's creed into words when she said, there's no such thing as someone else's child. No such thing as someone else's child. Our nation's children are all our children. Rebecca put a teacher's creed into words when she said,
there's no such thing as someone else's child. They're all of our children.
But you're just frightened. You think that we'll corrupt your kids if our agenda goes unchecked. Funny, just this once, you're correct. We'll convert your children. Happens bit by bit, quietly and subtly, and you will barely notice it.
Man, that clip gets a lot of mileage. Probably as much as the singer's asshole. So, yeah. Community ownership of children. But they tell us that they're not Marxist. Figure that one out. From CNN. Twitter removes transgender protections from hateful conduct policy, from Claire Duffy. Twitter appears to have quietly rolled back a portion of its hateful conduct policy that included specific protections for transgender people. The policy previously stated that Twitter prohibits targeting others with repeated slurs, tropes, or other content that intends to degrade or reinforce negative or harmful stereotypes about a protected category. This includes targeting, misgendering, or deadnaming of transgender individuals. But the second line was removed earlier this month, according to an archived version of the page from the Wayback Machine. Twitter also removed the line from the policy detailing certain groups of people often subject to disproportionate abuse online, including women, people of color, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual individuals, and marginalized and historically underrepresented communities. The platform first introduced a policy prohibiting misgendering and deadnaming, referring to a person's pre-transition name, of transgender people in 2018 as part of a broader overhaul of its hateful conduct policy. Well, I don't necessarily agree with going out and doing the dead name thing. And under 95% of circumstances, I will adhere to a person's pronouns if they want to. Mostly because the majority of transgender people that I interact with, I'm friendly with. Because under most circumstances, I'm way more liberal than my conservative friends. And the ones that I know aren't actively trying to convert children. So I don't care. Now, if there's someone who's out there actively trying to convert a child, I will point out the fact that that's a man and typically use that person's dead name. Well, not on Twitter, obviously, because that'll get you banned. But for the most part, as long as it's all consenting adults, I don't give a goddamn. I don't. And this is the position that it should be. Honestly. And honestly, with the exception of people who are so steeped in traditionalism that they can't even consider a position other than a lifestyle of their own. Those are the only people who are really affected by this. Most of the rest of us would look at my friend Rachel Nix and say she, her, and not even think twice about it. Sarah Higdon. Hold on. Funny story about that. So I didn't put on the stack for the day. We might talk about it a bit tomorrow, depending on how busy the news day is. The list that came out, and I do have it over on my other screen. The list of Twitter accounts that are known to be transphobic. Sarah Higdon is on that list. Sarah Higdon is a transsexual and is on the list of known transgender accounts. I am not. And my friend Britt, by the way, tweets by Britt that I call out at the beginning of the show, also is not, somehow. Our friend Arvold is. Friend of the show Arvold, who you've seen in the chat on and off, is on the list. I am not. Sarah Higdon is on the list. That was the one that blew my mind. Like, this is literally a transitioned human being who I think, and I've never lifted up the skirt checked, has had the bottom surgery. Made the list. How the French toast does that happen? How in God's name? That still blows my mind. No, I want to be on the list of known transphobes. Alright, I said 7:45. We're actually going to fly out and finish out these last two, because then we're done for the day. And we can start with a fresh slate. House Judiciary GOP reveals a breaking testimony, reveals Secretary Blinken and the Biden campaign were behind the infamous public statement from former Intel officials on the Hunter Biden laptop. I don't know why this is saying that Jim Jordan and Mike Turner revealed huge news. Everybody knew that already. But from the Honorable Anthony Blinken, the Committee on the Judiciary and the Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence are conducting oversight of the federal law enforcement intelligence matters within our respective jurisdictions. We are examining the origins of the infamous public statement signed by 51 former intelligence officials that falsely discredited a New York Post story regarding Hunter Biden's laptop as supposed Russian disinformation. As part of the oversight, we have learned that you played a role in this inception of the statement while serving as Biden campaign advisor, and we therefore request your assistance in oversight. Within 5 days of the article, on October 19, 2020, 51 former intelligence officials released a public statement attempting to discredit the content of the New York Post reporting about Hunter Biden, stating that the story has a classic earmarks of Russian information operation. News publications immediately ran with the statement, with Politico publishing a story with a conclusive headline. The committee recently conducted a transcribed interview with Michael Morell, a former deputy director of Central Intelligence Agency and one of the 51 signatories of the public statement. In his transcribed interview, Morell testified that on or around October 17th, you reached out to him to discuss the Hunter Biden laptop story. Morell testified, transcribed. Question, but prior to Secretary Blinken's call, you did not have any intent to write the statement? Answer, I did not. Question, okay, so his call triggered? Answer, it did, yes. Continued, that intent in you, so he interrupted the person asking the question. Answer, yes, absolutely. Morell testified his communication with you was one of few communications he had with the Biden campaign, explaining he also received a call from Steve Ricciardi, chairman of the Biden campaign, following the October 22nd debate, to thank him for writing the statement. He testified. After the debate, I think it was after the debate, in fact, I'm pretty sure it was after the debate, I got a phone call from Jeremy Bash, who I worked with at the Beacon and who was active politically, and Jeremy said, "Do you have a minute to talk to Steve Ricciardi?" I said, "Of course." He was the head of the Biden campaign at the time, and Jeremy got him on the line, and Steve thanked me for putting the statement out. And that was the extent of the conversation. Morell further explained that one of his two goals in releasing the statement was to help then Vice President Biden in the debate and assist him in winning the election. He testified. Question, what was the intent of the statement? Answer, there were two intents. One intent was to share a concern with the American people that the Russians were playing on this issue, and two, it was to help Vice President Biden. Chairman Jordan, you wanted to help the Vice President, why? Answer, because I wanted him to win the election. Chairman Jordan, you wanted him to win, that's why? Answer, yes sir. But again, everybody already knew that. I mean, this is not hard-hitting news that nobody had ever seen before. And the last one, before we head out of here, before we look at the live chat and head out of here for the day, the Supreme Court takes up a legal spat over public officials blocking people on social media. From Lawrence Hurley. The Supreme Court agreed Monday to decide whether people can sue public officials who block them on social media, a legal question left unresolved in a previous case involving former President Trump's Twitter account. The court took up two separate cases involving much lower profile figures, two members of the Poway Unified School District of Trustees in Southern California, and the city manager of Port Huron, Michigan. But the legal dispute is the same. Can blocking someone on social media give rise to a free speech violation under the Constitution's First Amendment? It's a recurring question that has arisen at all levels of government. As elected officials increasingly use social media to interact with voters, the Supreme Court's ruling will have a broad impact on guiding how lower courts handle such a case. As many courts have held, it doesn't matter whether it's the president or local city manager. Government officials can't block people from their forums simply because they don't like what they're saying, said Katie Fallow, a lawyer at the First Amendment Institute of Columbia University, which was involved in the lawsuit against Trump. The Supreme Court should reaffirm the basic First Amendment principle. In the California case, board members of Michelle O'Connor Radcliffe and TJ Zane in 2017 blocked Christopher and Kimberly Garnier, parents of students in the school district, from communicating on their Facebook pages, and in the case of O'Connor Radcliffe, responding to her Twitter post, Zane has since left office. So this goes on the idea is, do people have the unfettered access to politician accounts? You can see where I'm confused here, because especially in a time when all of our movies blow, our politicians are our new celebrities. I think the Supreme Court is going to rule in the unfettered access side of this. Now, I look at this as a slightly different aspect. Now, as the president, that is a person who should not be allowed to block any U.S. citizen under the guise of the First Amendment and the ability to both air grievances, but also have access to the politician, his information, his campaign, etc. I don't think that the president should have the ability to block people. I'm a little bit in the middle in our nationalistic and globalistic scale as far as congresspeople and local officials, because there's so much outside money that's going into our local officials right now. Under pure principle, I would say that the ruling should hold for, like, a senator, for the constituents of that senator's state, and in the instance of a federal senator, and for a representative in that district. But we've become, especially when these politicians become such celebrities, and they are making decisions with everybody else, for everybody else, that maybe we're getting to a point where the rest of the nation should have access, especially with social media being there. In theory, I would think that AOC should be able to block somebody from Iowa who is hassling her online. But in practice, AOC is still making decisions that affect Iowa. So maybe not. But regardless, it should be the case that the constituency should have unfettered access to that politician, because their taxes are paying that politician. That should be a given. As far as everybody else in the country, that's going to be a situation where we actually do have to sit back and consider whether or not, what the ramifications are, and what our extremely connected society has given us. But in theory, yes, it should at least be limited to that person's constituency. So that's where we are at with that. Let's check in with the live chat. Let's see what you guys are doing. And we will go from the beginning to the end. I've looked at some of your live chats now. I've got nothing over on Rumble, but I'll keep that open here. Does not look like I have anything going on over on the Odyssey side. On Instagram tonight, we had Mary Morgan 967 join us, and Maddie VIP4, which I'm not going to lie, I think are both bots. But regardless, they were both here, so even the bot accounts get the shoutouts. Let's look at what happened today. Holy shit, you guys were busy today. And if you want to get some last minute messages in, you'll still see them on the screen pop up over here. I don't know why I just went over to that side and did that, but up in the upper left hand corner, you'll see your new chats pop in while we come through and see what's happening on our side over here. The Mogwai is here on the Twitch side saying, I was going to watch you or Tucker. Oh, wait. Oh, no matter, I still have Don Lemon. Oh, shit. Quest Fanning says, just like Don Lemon. Mogwai says, at least Maddow is still on the airwaves. Boo. We don't like Maddow around here. Quest says, isn't Rice a possible VP candidate for Biden? She might have been, but I don't think that they can let Kamala go at this point. Quest says Don can suck a lemon just like his husband does. That was funny. That was funny. I enjoyed that. Quest jumped over onto the D-Live side and says, I did share this on Twitter. Thank you. Rachel, mad cow disease. Then he jumped back over to the YouTube side. Says $930 million loss for Fox. Yeah. Luke Wee is here. Mr. Scott is here. What's up? The old Budweiser commercial. The Mogwai says, personality or differing opinion is against everything Fox News operates on. Yeah, Mr. Scott pointing out CNN dumped Limon too. Is Sean Hannity safe? As long as Sean Hannity continues to kneel down in front of whoever the most powerful Republican is at the time, then yes, Sean Hannity is safe. And let's face it, he's not going to change after 40 years of doing that, exactly that. Are you kidding? He's good at that. I'm not a fan of Sean Hannity either, by the way. Mogwai says, I'd rather listen to a piano going through a grinder than listen to Carlson. I think that would sound awesome, by the way. As those strings are stretched taut and then snapped, and you get the ding, ding, ding in various tones. Mr. Scott says, who are they going to get to replace him? Johnson Tucker? Which is, by the way, a name for our friend Mulvaney. I saw that meme earlier today. Grant says, I'm guessing it'll be Jesse Waters. That's possible, actually. That would be on my short list if I was trying to figure out who was going to take that spot. Grant says, something tells me this wasn't mutual. And I love that Tucker is leaving is by far overshadowing Don Lemon getting the boot. The Mogwai says, Fox Media wishes Tucker Carlson the best in his future endeavors. Nice. Quest says, Tucker was afraid to disagree with and alienate his audience. Yes. Being too popular host at Fox News, Bill O'Reilly, now Tucker Carlson, doesn't pay, apparently. Quest says, I wonder if Newsmax will do well in the Dominion trial. I don't know. Grant says, no, not pineapple on pizza. I love pineapple on pizza. I had a pineapple pizza this weekend. I got a taste for franchise pizza, which I don't usually get because I lived in Kenosha for 10 years, where there was a mobster pizzeria on every corner. But every once in a while, I just get that taste for that heavily preservative-laden dough. And it's always, no matter where I get it from, sausage, onion, and pineapple. That is the best pizza. If you've never tried it, try it and tell me I'm wrong. That is the best pizza out there. Crest says, other than that, Newsmax could do well with the migration of the boomers from Fox News. I think he's going to go independent. Quest says, I remember when Conan was pushed out by Leno's return and he played out with a rendition of Freebird following another song with Will Ferrell. I don't know if I can say that out loud on YouTube. I know I can't say that on YouTube, even if it's a quote. But yeah, evidence not accepted, sue for defamation. I know for a fact I can't say that word, those words, even if it's just quoting what speculation of what Fox was saying. I know that I can't say those words out loud. Grant says more like he threatens them with prosecution over speech. Banning is out of here. Family time. Grant says, if what they try to call what Fox says is advocating violence, what do you call CNN calling actual violence, not violence? Grant says, your impression is closer to South Park's Jennifer Lopez. Taco, taco, burrito, burrito, papi. Yeah, I love that one. Mr. Scott says, my neighbor's leaf blower just broke. That just made my day. It amazes me that some are more shocked than Walter Cronkite was when Kennedy got shot in Dallas. Which, by the way, speaking of that, I have heard that Hillary Clinton has requisitioned from the Ford Motor Company a custom Lincoln with a removable top for him to do his primary tours in. The saga of Mr. Scott's neighbor's leaf blower. That's great. He got it going again. Oop, broke again. The man is a leaf blower fiend. Mogwai says, can I buy a vowel? Apparently Don Lemon wasn't black enough. Even Jussie was blacker than Don Lemon. The Mogwai says, the future endeavor is him. That's WWE move. Yeah, the Twitter thread is a crap show. Oh, I didn't see the community notes. Grant says the best part about Lemon's claim is that he got the community notes. I have his claim up here. Did he get the community notes? He didn't get the community notes. He got CNN coming back on the PR team and saying that no, we didn't do that. He didn't get the community notes. Let me refresh this just to make sure. No, I have no community notes on that one. Grant says, I heard another podcast say CNN stock is up on the Don Lemon firing, but Fox's is down on the Tucker departure. Yeah, Wolf Blitzer still has a job. His roll the eggs or be the guy laying the eggs thing exposes him as actually mentally defunct. And Jill being there to support him is cringe. I still have the dollar bet that Dems are going to run Michelle Obama. I don't think they are. Grant says, did you know Lemon is 4 years older than Tucker? Black people would riot if Kamala got robbed because she's black, so they need black. And women would rage if it wasn't a woman, so they need a woman. It kind of narrows the choices. Unless Orpha steps up or something crazy, that would be Oprah versus Trump. Yeah, reality TV show stars. This is a clown world, anything could happen. Mr. Scott says, the term conspiracy theory doesn't even work anymore. Colloquially meaningless nowadays besides the virtue signal. Too many syllables for smooth-brained kids nowadays. It used to be forced to write at least 1,000 words. Kids nowadays are trained to think in 128 characters or less. Hence why I write a novel every time I show up. Yeah. Epps was outed as a 3-letter boy. At least he's living. Remember Ashley Babbitt? Supposedly Wagner Group offered to give some man pads to one of the warring factions. I had to go watch a 20-minute Sudan history video to even understand what's going on. I have not done that yet. Honestly, I can see it by looking on Google Maps that is a lot of thermal mineral deposits. There's gold in them hills. Yes, I know the Marines are the Navy. But still. Mr. Scott says RFK looks different to me, but he says another line that I can't say because we are on a YouTube video. Yes, DLive is working correctly. I put a note into technical service and they got it fixed. I think that was Sunday night of last week. Not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before. Thank you for for the shout out of the channel, Spartan. Yeah, mine is still at Twitter. I want to change it over there. I just haven't figured out how. Because my YouTube is JEdgar101, my Twitch is JEdgar101, my Twitter is JEdgar102 because a Australian girl named Justine Edgar has the JEdgar101 moniker. And she has been inactive since 2007. So nobody has an email to get a hold of her, to change her, or give up her password or anything else like that. Grant says, but they still have the debates because it usually doesn't have an impact, which tells me they're afraid it will have an impact, which is possible. Media still held the debates without the RNC. I don't remember that, but it was also probably just also ran, so there's that. Mr. Scott says, where's the guy with the long cane that swoops him in and pulls him off stage? The shepherd's hook. Grant says that song gets a lot of mileage because it's true. Oh, I could just see Biden going into one of those stupid little rants and rambles. That's what I meant to say. Not, I don't even know who Randall is. One of his rants and rambles, and going off the rails, and then just the shepherd's crook comes in and. As he gets pulled off the stage, he gets to lean into the microphone one more time and say, "Come on, man!" Damn fools in Ireland getting BTFO'd by Ireland's first dog where the civilized world falls into chaos from infantile geriatric governing class. The real boomers. Grant says the dead name thing is basically saying you can't insult transgender people, which means they're a privileged class. We are treading on YouTube TOS lines there. What are you saying? You want to be on the list of known transsexuals? No, I want to be on the list of known transphobes. I've said horrible things about people transitioning kids. Mr. Scott says, I was disinvited to my best friend's wedding because I got drunk and actually wrote what I thought. He's marrying a girl that I picked up for him at a bar. Mazel tov. Even though you can't go. Mazel tov. My buddies were like, go find the hottest girls in here, invite them over for a beer, and I did. After that, their faces got stuck together. That's beautiful, man.
That's beautiful, man.
I am going to... One of the things that I want to get is the Elgato sounder. That is going to be on my sounder board. Number one, I love that movie. Number two, it's one of the few movies I've ever seen. Number two, that fits, especially in a position like this.
That's beautiful, man.
She's got 3 kids from 2 different dads, and none of them are his, but he's adopting them. Mazel tov. Again. Absolutely. Hope is like a bad word in my experience, though. The Mogwai says Meadow doesn't even like Meadow, to be honest. Mr. Scott says, I'd pay to watch Lemon fight Meadow. It'd be a good match. 80s Kid says, I almost had a psychic girlfriend, but she left me before me. Ba-doom. Nice. Galana is here. Nope, Jesse is next on the block. I can't believe you can't say those. Well, even though the alt platforms are are rising, the best chance that I have of getting uninitiated people and people who are new is still to go on YouTube. So I do want to stay on that platform. If I ever get permanently axed from YouTube, the gloves are off. Uh, 80s Kid says, sweet chili chicken pizza is my favorite. Close second is Meat Feast. Third is ham and pineapple. I don't like ham and cheese together. That's my thing with ham and pineapple. Like, I think that would be good in theory, because ham and pineapple work together in a lot of Hawaiian foods. I just don't like ham and cheese together. Mr. Scott says 10 out of 10. I think Don will go to Cuomo's networks. That's possible. Yeah, Cuomo's doing his own thing now too, isn't he? And Mr. Scott says, I respect you, man. I respect your role. Well, thank you. Let's head out of here for the day. I'm hungry. I made meatloaf last night, by the way. And I meal prepped it, so I still have all of it left over. Every last scrap and morsel of it is left over, and I'm going to eat a bunch of it. And a salad. The keto thing, by the way, is the modified one works. When I did it full on every single day, it didn't work out well. But having that little bit of wiggle room on the weekends, it works. And I can tell, like, I can't eat as much when I'm eating normally as I was just a few weeks ago. I got Pizza Hut on Saturday. I went to the Hut and I got a pair of pies, and like, I barely got through a full pie over 2 days because I was eating it throughout the day Sunday as well. And I couldn't get through it. Whereas like 3 weeks ago, before I went back on keto, those both would have been gone immediately. Done, gone, and out of here. But my meatloaf is really good. And it is low enough in binder that it can still be considered low carb. It's still under 20 grams on the day. So we're in a win for me. Yeah, I almost never eat my meatloaf fresh. I always wait for the next day for it. And I made it in these little tiny pans too, so I can chop up a bunch of it and do better portion control too. Alright, I'm getting hungry. Let's get the hell out of here. My meatloaf recipe is out there, by the way. After I perfected it, it's out there. What an interesting day. I thought I was going to spend almost the entire day talking about Ray Epps, and instead we talked the entire day about Tucker Carlson. See? You lost some of that filler. I quit drinking beer and I've been eating like a madman. I'm always hungry. Alright, where is the outro music? There it is. Let's go. Alright, so everybody, thank you. Thank you. We had a massively great night today. We were on the Instagram side long enough that, especially since I didn't charge my phone this morning, my phone is almost dead. I had the 15% warning just now, so now is the perfect time as any to start cutting things out. I want to send you a houseplant. Wait till I move, because I don't have a good south-facing window here. But I will accept houseplants. I absolutely will. I love to garden. But with that, we're going to head out of here for the day. Thank you, everybody, for coming by, hanging out, chatting, discussing Tucker Carlson. We had a very, very good, active night tonight. So we'll be back here tomorrow to see what happens in the next 22 hours worth of news. It's going to be interesting. The debt ceiling is still looming, by the way, so we're probably going to talk about that. And there's some Ukraine stuff that I was not able to put on the stack today, so we'll probably be talking about that tomorrow. And a bunch more of stuff that's going on in the news, in the culture, and in our very lives. So we will see you here tomorrow for more news, more headlines, and more contemporary. Looking forward to that, looking forward to more conversation, and looking forward to more. Be good, be safe, have a great dinner, spend time, hug your families, and until tomorrow, I am Jay Edgar, and this is Contemporary. Take care.